Hello lovelies, my name is Julia, I am the Paisley person, and today I'd like to share how I make my character doll maker bases. It's art time! A lot of this may be self-explanatory once you get the gist, or definitely if you've used bases before. If you've never used a base, this might open your eyes to new possibilities. And if you don't know what a base is, it's essentially basic line art that one artist has drawn and provides for other artists to then edit, draw on top of, color, or customize to in some way make it their own. The best ones include swappable line art for outfits, expressions, hair, or anything else you might want to customize. They're great for turning out designs quickly, but public use bases are often pretty generic. So when I'm designing with a specific character in mind, sometimes I'll make them their own base. I usually make bases for my characters when I want to be able to design lots of outfits for them. If I'm doing a wardrobe meme or see an outfit on Pinterest that I'd never wear but screams their name. It's a lot like dressing up paper dolls or using an online doll maker, if you've ever played with those. This one isn't my character though, this is Bean Collie. She's my friend's persona, who just started streaming over on twitch.tv/beanplaysgames separated with underscores. I'll have all her links in the description. So to set up your own base, just start by drawing out your character in a pose that suits them. That's usually the biggest downfall in my opinion of big public bases, are the basic poses. Bean is a sassy, punk rock border collie, so I went with a rocker hand and the other on her hip. But any pose that doesn't have a lot of body overlap that would cover up a lot of detail should work well. You can merge all of this line art onto one layer, but if you're going to be making a lot of swapping options with this base, it's really best to reserve as many layers as possible. I break mine up into a main body outline layer, hair, and the face only if I'm doing multiple expressions. I separated the ears and the tail onto another layer too, just in case Bean ever wants to do a fully human version. Like I said, these doll maker bases are all about options. In that vein, don't outright just erase where your lines overlap. If your art software supports them at all, use layer masks. Layer masks are awesome because the mask will hide areas you'd like to erase, but you can see when I turn the mask off, the lines are actually still there. If I had just erased that and later decided to pull Bean's hair out of her face, I'd have to redraw that whole half of her head. But since the layer mask preserved the original drawing, all I'd have to do is just readjust the mask. Once your body line art is done, stick all those layers into a folder and reduce the opacity. This is now your blueprint for the entire rest of your base. If you haven't already, you're going to want to start thinking about organization. Set up folders for each of the features or clothing items you want to be able to swap out. For me, that means accessories, coats, shirts, pants, and shoes. If you followed me so far, the next step is pretty self-explanatory. Just trace or draw around the body blueprint for every new feature you want to swap, adding a new layer for each one. You can also add layers for grip effects, buttons, tassels, zippers, a signature logo, anything you might want to use on multiple articles of clothing. The trick is making sure those effects line up with any and all of your swap options. Turn your layers on and off to check frequently. It won't always work perfectly, so just try to line them up as best you can. When you copy them over onto an actual outfit later, you can make adjustments accordingly. If you want to get really fancy, you can even break down your clothes folders into mini bases. See what I did with the shirts? There's a folder for shirt collars, a button-up, a tee, a V, and a scoop. For sleeves, short and tight, short and loose, long and tight, long and loose, tank tops and spaghetti straps, and the shirt lengths, crop tops, tight waist length, loose waist length, long and tight, and long and loose. To do this, pick 2 transition points where the collar is going to end and the sleeve begins. You'll have to match the same 2 points on every collar and every sleeve from now on so that they'll all line up. Same for the sleeves and body, or any 2 pieces that touch. You can also cheat like I did and draw one whole shirt first, before separating it into those 3 components by selecting with a lasso selection and then cut and pasting them into their own layers. Notice that both of my loose shirts have the same wrinkles. To save time, I just duplicated the long layer, erased what I didn't need, and patched up the bottom. That way you don't have to figure out the cloth folds over and over. These kinds of shortcuts are glorious, and they're meant to be abused. Use them. Drawing out all of your options definitely takes the most time, but once you put that initial work in, you suddenly have access to endless outfit and expression combinations. Just copy your lines over to a new document and erase or mask the overlaps, color them in, and you're done. It is so fast. Obviously, making a whole base just for a few outfits isn't necessarily practical, but for a few special characters I hold dear, I think the trouble's worth it. If you want an outfit base like this for your character, but don't think the trouble is worth it, let me make it, maybe? I just added a custom base listing on my Etsy store. The link will be in the description. Thanks so much to Bean for letting me show off her base. Go check out her links. And thank you so much for visiting. I hope this helped at least a little. Have a great night and happy arting! Goodbye.